Keep your friends close. Here are 5 key points that are really important about friends. Not only that, but it kind of outlines what is so special about them. So, key point 1: if you can't be yourself around them, who can you be? Now, there was something that happened to me that was really interesting a long time ago. I joined a forum and I started writing in an RPG constructed by 4 or 5 other authors. And I was always a writer before, but when I was able to actually join this forum and start writing, I realized something. One of my friends who was really cool with me, we started to do something that I'd like to call a dual post, where we would write via IM, and we would respond paragraph by paragraph. Now, back then, we were using Windows Messenger, so there was a limit to how much you could write. So every paragraph, we pretty much had a good rhythm always going on, because no one would take too long, and we'd always be, we'd be in the zone, I guess you can say. And together, we probably wrote about 3,000 pages each, and we ended up being best friends. But because we were writing, and we were writing about us as characters in the story, and we were put into that story, I was able to be 100% me. And I realized something. When I was 100% me, I felt so comfortable. I felt so, I don't know, I felt good about myself. There's a lot of things that I found out about myself that I couldn't have found out otherwise. And I think that's something that we all need to do. We need to be ourselves to the point where we do things that we didn't even know we were capable of. And it pushes our limitations about what we think about ourselves and how far we can go. And I think that's really important. Key point 2: histories make deeper stories. Another one of my friends was someone that I met who was really into being a millionaire and really into being an entrepreneur. And I joined him. And we would go on many different adventures. There'd be points where we would go somewhere and his car would be towed. And we'd have to walk for maybe an hour or 2 hours to this junkyard where we had to retrieve his car. Other times we would go up to a skyline, to pursue, his successful entrepreneur dreams. And we'd take risks. We'd go to so many different places, and just adventure. And we'd always be sharing stories over and over and over again about our lives, and what we thought about, humanity, what we thought about the world, how philosophy works, how logic works, and how the universe works. And the universe seldom, works according to the way we think it does, logically speaking. And the more adventures we had, the more troubled times we had, the more obstacles we went through, the more we were able to reflect. We were able to kind of think, and we were able to talk aloud and voice our opinions freely. And that's really important with friends. You go through your hard times, you go through your good times. There were victories, and there were defeats, and just being able to celebrate with somebody through the ups, and then also being able to console them during the downs, and you learn a lot about yourself too. Through the histories that you create. Point 3: they sharpen you more and more. In terms of Japanese, I wasn't really, too into it until I met my friend who was very into it. He picked up anime and he would watch it. And there was a point in his life where he decided to start watching anime without subtitles. And lo and behold, within 2 or 3 years, he was able to understand anime without even trying. And he was able to beat me, someone who had officially studied Japanese for 10 years in school, and it blew me away. But I would hang out with my friend more and more and more, and the more I hung out with him, the more I realized that my Japanese skill got better. It increased all the time because I always wanted to be at least as good as him, you know? Secretly, I've always wanted to surpass him, but he works so... It's not that he works hard at it, it's just that he's so diligent, and he does it so consistently, and he does it without even thinking about it. He'll just read for an hour on the train, something in Japanese. It's not even his first language, it's not even his second language, it's his third language, and he just picked it up from watching anime in the beginning. And because of that, because I was able to really just see everything that he was doing, like throughout the years, I started to realize, like, wait, now I can start watching Japanese shows and I don't need subtitles. Now I can read things I've never read before. You know, friends, they sharpen you. They sharpen you so much. They challenge you and they push you. He's kind of like the genius, I guess you can say, of my friends in terms of technical skill. And it's, it's benefited me a lot because I can use what I've seen from him to improve myself. So they sharpen you more and more. Fourth key point. Friends are blunt and they're honest with you. One of my best friends is one of the most blunt people you could ever find. He will just say what's on his mind. And sometimes, yeah, he can be critical. Maybe not critical. Critical wouldn't be the right word. I wouldn't even say judgmental. Because it's not like he really is judgmental. But he says what's on his mind. If you think of somebody who's critical or judgmental, you think that's all that they do is pick out the bad. But he's just stating it as matter of fact, some of the things that happen. And he's able to say things to me that nobody can really say to me, but I can trust him because of that. And he is kind of, he thinks highly of himself, he thinks that he's got everything figured out in an interesting way. Of course, he doesn't admit to being perfect, and he acknowledges his weaknesses too, but he's honest and he's blunt. And sometimes you need that from friends. You need to know, when you're messing up or when you suck at something. Well, he's never really said I sucked at anything, but there's always been points where I feel like, wait, like I can do better because look at what he's saying. He's being honest about it. So having that honesty, when people can be real with you, and it can even be, I don't want to say negative, but it could be something you don't want to hear, but you accept it anyways because you trust your friend. And it doesn't hurt you, it just makes you think and it makes you better. So the fifth key point. Your friends are the number one identifier of who you are. Surely you've heard the phrase, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. I'll tell you one thing, if you have close friends and you hang out with them most of the time, most of the day, most of the week, most of your life, they will shape you in many different ways. They'll shape you in ways that you would have never thought that they'd shape you. And it can be in a good way, and it can be a bad way. It can make you change your standards on certain things. It can make you try things that you've never done before, good or bad. And most of all, just who they are in general says something about yourself, if you really think about it. Keep your friends close. because your friends are the only people who you can really be yourself with. And if you can't even be yourself with your top 5 best friends, then when are you ever yourself? If ever. If you ever hold yourself back, if you ever never say what's completely and truly on your mind, what a lonely life you would have if you weren't able to tell people what you think and have it be accepted. If you could be who you are and have it be accepted. If you could believe what you believe and you can do what you do and you can actually feel like you've got a group that you can belong to. I think this is very, very important. Not just for success, but for solid mental health, stability. And I honestly believe, that if you have your friends, you keep close, and you contribute to them, and you learn from them, and you share that and pass it around, your life will definitely be richer. When people die, we seldom think about spending more time at the office, spending more time at the job, seldom thinking about how we could have made more money. I doubt that. I think death is very, very important teacher to everyone, because death usually makes you think about who you could have spent time with. If your friends died, would you not wish more time with them? And if you died, if you were going to die, out of all the billions of people in the world, would it not matter to you if the people closest were with you? Or if you had spent ample time with them, develop your relationships with them, help them towards their dreams, and them helping you to yours. When it all comes down to it, life is it's very temporal. We don't know who will go, who will stay, if we'll go, if we'll stay. But I do know one thing, is that in this life, we were meant to live it not on our own, but with others. I feel like your friends are those others that you are to live your life with. So, keep your friends close and live a good life. Until next time, live well and succeed.